Hey there friends, it's Mandy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be continuing our Modify with Mandy series where I show you some ways to modify your seated forward fold. So whenever you're ready, hop on your yoga mat and let's get into it. But as I mentioned earlier, for today's video, I will be showing you a couple of different ways to modify that seated forward fold. Now, seated forward fold can be super challenging, especially if we have tight hamstrings. So I'm going to show you some ways that you can modify the pose with props and some ways that you can modify the pose without props. Because I know that there are some situations where we're in a studio that is just the props are abundant, or maybe if you're practicing at home and you don't necessarily have access to some of these things, then I got your back there too. But first, we're going to start with using some props. So as you can see here, I have grabbed a strap and I have also grabbed a blanket. Now, if you don't have a yoga strap and you don't have a yoga blanket, you may absolutely use a belt. That works really well too. You can use a necktie. I know some friends who have used their kids' taekwondo belts. That absolutely works as well. So essentially the strap is going to act as an arm extender. It's just feel free to get creative. And if you don't have a yoga blanket, you can just use any old blanket around your house. You can also fold up a beach towel. That is a great alternative too, but we're going to be using this to bring some height underneath the seat. So to use these props, so we're going to start with the blanket. I'm going to have my strap nearby, but we're going to come seated with our sits bones right on the edge of that blanket there. And what that does is it helps to tilt my pelvic bowl forward, which helps take some of the weight off of the lower back and just helps to provide a little bit more length there. Now, this is useful in most seated postures, especially any kind of seated forward fold, or even here as I'm just sitting in Sukhasana, our easy pose. It's a really great way to provide some support on that lower back. So coming into our seated forward fold, or in Sanskrit, our Paschimottanasana. So we're sitting up nice and tall to start, growing up tall through the crown of the head here, flexing through both of my feet, and my feet are together to start. So now we might just start with the blanket here. That might give us enough space to kind of begin to already start to fold forward. Walking those hands forward, maybe we just place our hands onto the outsides of onto the mat on the outsides of the legs. Maybe we grab the feet. Maybe we're able to hook our hands around our peace fingers. Now I'm really concentrating on getting that lower belly connection down to the top of the thighs. It's really important to help maintain that length through your spine here. Now if you cannot grab the feet, then that is where our strap comes in, or strap alternative, whatever it is we're using. So we're going to take the center of that strap and we're going to loop it right around the balls of your feet. Now it's important that you get your little arm extender right around the balls of your feet, because that way when you start to pull onto the strap here, it'll start to bring your toes in towards the body. Whereas if they were down by the heels, you can see I'm not getting that activation in the feet. So you want them right around the balls of the feet here. And you might just be here. So the strap is a beautiful extension of the arms. I'm able to sit up nice and tall, shoulders relaxing down and away from the ears. This might be your pose. I know for me, I have super, super tight hamstrings. I've been practicing yoga for several years and they've gotten better, but it is what it is. I'm never going to be one of those super, super bendy people. So I still use props in my own practice. Maybe you start to walk those straps or walk your hands a little bit down the strap, start to fold into it. Maybe you start to bend your elbows a little bit here. So this is an excellent way to help. Now, if you don't have any props, Perhaps you're in a studio, especially right now as studios are starting to open back up with COVID-19. A lot of them are pretty much removing all props from the space for safety reasons. So you might be in one of those classes where you left your props at home and there just aren't any nearby. So if that's the case, let me remove my blanket. If that's the case, we're going to start. Move the fleshy bits of your bum out from underneath you. You really want to feel those sits bones grounding down strongly into the mat. And then from here, we're going to bend into those knees super deeply. Bring your torso, connect your torso onto the thighs. Flex the feet, grab the outer edges of your feet here. Again, you can also hook your peace fingers around your big toes. I've never really liked that. I prefer to grab the outer edges of my feet, but you do you. And then we're going to inhale, grow up nice and tall here. And then as we exhale, we're just going to start to walk our feet forward. If you have a slippery mat, you might just slide your feet. It's a little bit more difficult on mine. But you're only going to bring those feet as far forward as you can really keep that belly glued onto the top of the thighs here. So we're still thinking about sending the tailbone behind us, reaching forward with the crown of the head here. And maybe you get those legs straight. Maybe you start to fold all the way forward. Maybe we don't get there. Maybe we just stay up here. This might be our pose, and this is a beautiful place to be. And slowly, as you practice, as you loosen up into those hamstrings, work our way farther and farther into it. Now, another problem or challenge, I should say, that some people have with their seated forward folds is maybe they're a little bit fuller around their midsection. I've also seen this with pregnant women, especially as they get later in their late into their second trimester, getting into their third trimester, baby's starting to get a little bit bigger, taking up some more space. And there's just way too much compression with the belly on the tops of the legs. It doesn't feel good. If that's the case, just walk your legs farther apart. So as you can see here, I have my feet a little bit almost mat width apart here. So I'm not into a full wide leg forward fold. However, I'm just giving myself that little bit of extra space for my belly there. And same thing, you would just bend the knees, grab the outer edges of the feet, and then start to extend those legs out as long as you can keep the length through the lower back there. Those are some modifications for our seated forward fold. Please, please, please let me know if you have any questions. Drop a comment down below. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. It really does help a lot. New videos are added every Monday and a Wednesday. And make sure to drop a comment down below on what pose you would like to see modified next. As always, you guys, the love, the light, and the darkness within me sees, honors, and recognizes the love, the light, and the darkness within you. Namaste.